Hello everybody, and welcome back to my channel, today's video, and Blind Woman Reviews. So today I am reviewing A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is part of her new series called Flesh and Fire, which also takes place in the same world as Blood and Ash. So if you have not seen my reviews for Blood and Ash or any videos related to Blood and Ash, I will link the playlist below along with the author playlist I have for Jennifer L. Armentrout because there is of course the reviews that I made for Blood and Ash, but also the plot. I did my plot predictions for A Shadow in the Ember, so you can find that all in the playlists I'll be linking below. But before I begin, few housekeeping things. You probably noticed I did delete a video I put out on, was it Thursday or Wednesday? There was a video I put out at some point that I deleted. I decided not to, I put it out and it went public, but I decided to delete it because because I decided to just not do that because it was a third book and I haven't reviewed it. So I think it would mess up I realized later it would mess up the order of the way that I usually put out videos. So I will not be doing that, but I do have a couple of other sorry, I'm still kind of sick. Plot discussion related videos coming up probably sometime next week. So yeah. And I will no longer be doing reactions for Ouran High School Host Club or The Rising of the Shield Hero. But there's a reason for that, and that is because it does take a while to do these. Like it takes me some time to sit down, and I usually get more reading than watching done at any particular time. Like I read more than I watch things, and I finish those faster. So what I'm going to do instead, I will continue to react, and I'll probably just react mainly to movies. I haven't figured it out yet. I might just react to movies, or I might do like the first episode of whatever series I'm watching, so that to give you like my first impressions based on the first episode. That's what I might do, and then I might review it. If the series is incomplete, I'll review it season by season. If the series, sorry guys. If the series is complete, I'll just do a full-on series review / recommendations. So you'll be getting reviews for The Rising of the Shield Hero Season 1 in Ouran High School Host Club in the next couple of days or in the next 2 weeks or so. So I just wanted to let you know that Blind Woman Reacts is changing a little, but not too much. I'll still be doing reactions because I actually do really like them. It's just that reacting episode by episode is not as easy for me. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, oh god, okay, let's review A Shadow in the Ember. And before watching, please check out the links below, and if you're interested in my content, subscribe and turn on notifications so you're aware the moment I release videos. I usually do multiple times a week, most of the time just every day, and I try to post by 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central, and 8 a.m. Pacific, so keep that in mind. And without further ado, let's begin with the description, which I did discuss in my previous video, but just in case you do not remember, here's a reminder. Born shrouded in the veil of the primals, a maiden as the fates promised, Seraphina Murel's future has never been hers. Chosen before birth to uphold the desperate deal her ancestor struck to save his people, Sarah must leave behind her life and offer herself to the primal of death as his consort. However, Sarah's real destiny is the most closely guarded secret in all of Lasagna. She's not the well-protected maiden, but an assassin with one mission, one target: make the primal of death fall in love, become his weakness, and then... Wait, what? No. Oh, and then... ... end him. If she fails, she dooms her kingdom to a slow demise at the hands of the rot. Sarah has always known what she is: chosen, consort, assassin, weapon. A specter never fully formed, yet drenched in blood. A monster. Until the primal of death's unexpected words and deeds chase away the darkness gathering inside her, and his seductive touch ignites a passion she's never allowed herself to feel and cannot feel for him. But Sarah has never had a choice. Either way, her life is forfeit. It always has been, as she has been forever touched by life and death. I just want to say how much I love this description. And I remember I did not rewatch the video, my plot discussion video before this, but I remember mentioning that in that video that while reading this description, I imagined there would be a few similarities to Poppy, and I was right, and I'll be discussing that too, because this is kind of one of those things I will be referencing the Blood and Ash series, so if there is a spoiler, I'll definitely let you know, but I will be referencing the series. But for now, I will say that I did love this book. I rated it 5 stars. It was a great book. I think the world building, it's really interesting. And I really like how we basically are back in Atlantia / Solus before the events of Blood and Ash, probably thousands of years before or so, because by the time Blood and Ash takes place, Nyktos, his consort, and the rest of the gods are asleep. So definitely probably a lot of it's been definitely a lot of time since the events of Blood and Ash, and I love that we're back there when it was known as something else. I think that's actually really awesome because, we never, it's only like we learn about, Solus and Atlantia kind of like in their history, but the one thing that we as readers know, thanks to this kind of like prequel series, is Nyktos' consort's name. And the reason I say this is because in the events of Blood and Ash, Seraphina is not known. We don't know who she is. And her consort's name has never been released, but Nyktos is also no longer painted. But in the events here, he also isn't technically the Primal of Death is also not painted. And there's so much that happens, which is really interesting in this book. Like, we learn how Nyktos became the Primal of Death and how technically he wasn't supposed to be the Primal of Death, and how it all occurred. And basically we don't outright meet him, but we kind of know who the villain is. And something I like is the introduction of reincarnation, which I do not remember reading about in Blood and Ash. So I'm wondering, it makes me wonder if Blood and Ash will eventually reference reincarnation in the last 2 books, because it turns out our main character is a reincarnation of someone else, someone who turns out to be a legend, which I think is awesome. Like, I love it. And by the way it ended, I cannot wait for the second book, whenever that will be. Like, I read this and I'm like, wait, what? You ended like this? I have to wait. I mean, I already have to wait for the War of Two Queens. I already have to wait till March 15th, but how long do I have to wait for the next installment in the Flesh and Fire series? I don't even have a title. I'm looking on Goodreads. I don't even see the Untitled Flesh and Fire #2. I don't know, guys. I feel like this waiting kills me. I hate waiting sometimes, and I'm super impatient. The good thing is I have other books I need to read. Like, I need to really get to Six of Crows, but I haven't. And I need to finish the Sandman Act 2 so that I can give you guys a review in the next few days too. or the next week or two. But yeah, no, I just cannot. I don't know. I love this book. There's so many good things. I have no flaws, and I like how it all started out that way. But yeah, I do see some nods to Poppy in a way. Seraphina and Poppy are very similar in their personalities. They're both extremely curious. They both ask a lot of questions, some of them incredibly random questions. But I also saw some similarities in Nyctos and Castile, which I was not expecting. But hey, okay. So when it comes to Poppy and Seraphina, both of them had a life chosen previously. They had no no they had no choice about their lives. They had nothing. You know, they had everything was taken from them. But unlike Poppy, Seraphina experienced touch and pleasure, even though she didn't experience full on passion. But she did technically experience pleasure, but mainly because people kind of forgot about her. Poppy was guarded and she couldn't, and she was super sheltered, and she couldn't experience anything because she could easily get caught, even if anything. But but Sarah was technically forgotten about, so she was able to do whatever she wanted. The only way she wasn't forgotten is if she wasn't meant to the only reason like she was paid attention to is if she, because it, for her to serve her duty and become the primal of death's consort. And she ended up and then of course in the real story begins, the story begins technically with the prologue, but like the real plot, I feel like the real plot of the story begins definitely in chapter 1. The prologue is the events that happened before the actual story begins, and it's actually kind of interesting because the prologue is of the prologue shows how she was supposed to kind of, by the way, spoilers here, but not a lot, but definitely some broad spoilers coming up. The prologue shows us that it was her 17th birthday, and she she was 17 basically. I don't know if it was her birthday, but she was 17. And she was to be given to the primal of death, and she is taken to the temple. She sits on the throne. She's wearing this gown that she totally hates, and we meet her step siblings, who everyone I guess believes are in that bloodline, but she in the Mirel royal family, but she is the last Mirel true bloodline, the last one. And we meet her stepbrother, who is basically an asshole, and I don't think we meet Ezra in that episode, but Ezra in that prologue, but Ezra is sweet and amazing and cute and should be protected. But basically we meet them, and she goes into the church, but unbeknownst to everybody else, the primal of death rejects her, saying, I have no need for a consort. And Sarah doesn't know why, but her mother slaps her, and now she is blamed for the rot that is occurring in the kingdom, and her mother basically sees her as a failure and blames her and stuff like that. So because of that, she's technically been completely forgotten, and for every year she's made to go to the temple, but the primal of death doesn't show up. So it's a very it's a very interesting thing. And because she's forgotten, though, she basically gets to do whatever she wants, and nobody pays attention to her. But also nobody knows she's the princess. They think she is the queen's handmaiden, rather than her daughter. And so she pretty much gets to do whatever she wants, but she's also completely starved for attention that she does not have. And but it's so that's something that reminds me of Poppy in a way. They're both starved of affection and attention in general, so they try to get their attention in other places as well. um the romance with this was great, by the way. I don't think that she just fell in love with him because of the fact that she's seeking that attention. But I think that when it comes to both Poppy and Sarah, they both have a streak that's kind of like, they have a reckless and rebellious streak, but mainly because they didn't get a lot of attention either. And they could be rebellious even beforehand, even before, if they got it. But the point is that in their case, they really didn't get much affection. So their romantic partners are kind of their first point uh of affection that is like outside where they're from, because very few people give her too much attention. Like, for example, in Sarah's case, like, the one person that loves her unconditionally is Ezra, and Ezra is amazing. Like, everybody else is annoying in this whole thing, but the one person that loves her unconditionally, besides Niktos, or Ash as she knows him in the beginning, is Ezra. She doesn't just, like, she's not unlike the rest of the family. She doesn't blame her for the rot in the kingdom. Instead, she actually does the right thing, and she focuses on trying to help the people, unlike the queen and her father and the heir to the throne, which is her brother. So it's something that's very interesting. So her form of affection comes from him, and when it from her. And I mean, I don't know about Sir Holland. I don't know if you can say Sir Holland, which is her the knight that trains her. I don't know if you can say that he gives her too much affection. You can sort of say he's been technically guarding her, and it's interesting. When it comes to Poppy, I think the main point of affection besides Castile was definitely Tawny and Victor, and Rylan. Like, those were the main people that gave her the affection, but these were the only people that were also the only people allowed to interact with her. So it's very, like, they're very different in a way, but they're also very similar. And that is something I found interesting, because I'm wondering if both of them, since technically Poppy is the consort, their granddaughter, Niktos and Sarah's granddaughter, if they will meet. And Poppy will also hopefully will learn the name of Seraphina's name, and I wonder if they'll meet and everything. But also, something very interesting that I love too is so I in the Crown of Gilded Bones, we meet Reaver, which is as well as Nektas and a bunch of the other Dracon. Yeah, Dracon. And basically, we learn at the end of the Crown of Gilded Bones that Poppy's real father, whose name I can't quite remember, Iris or something, he woke and left the mortal realm with his daughter Jadis. So in Shadow and the Ember, we get to meet Reaver and Jadis as children. Jadis being about like 4 or 5, and Reaver being around 10. And it's actually kind of super adorable. It turns out Jadis plays with Reaver and everything. They're like a couple years apart and they play together. It's so cute. It's adorable. I'm really, really hoping in Blood and Ash that Poppy finds Jadis, and it turns out Jadis is alive, because Nektas is amazing, and his daughter should live. She really should be alive. Hopefully she's just somewhere in hiding in mortal form and managed to get away from Isbeth. If not, I'm going to be really sad. But I loved meeting them as children. There's so much I can say about this book, but honestly, I want to leave it mainly spoiler-free because, 1, it's a new release. And 2, I think that this is the type of book you really, really want to read, especially if you're a fan of the Blood and Ash series. I think this is the type of book, this prequel is would be really awesome if you were to read it. It's awesome. I will link the Blood and Ash playlist as well as the Jennifer L. Armentrout playlist. So read it, have fun, let me know what you think in the comments section, and yeah, anyway, if you I'll see you guys again tomorrow with a review of what is that book? Oh, I forgot the name. The Fires of Vengeance. There it is. The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter. This is the second book in the Burning series. The first was The Rage of Dragons, which I reviewed last Monday. So come back for that tomorrow. And also, I'll see you Tuesday with a review of The Rising of the Shield Heroes Season 1, because I figured, you know what, I'm going to record it now since I'm recording this video. But I see you with that review, and the next couple of days I think will be a couple of Blind Woman Anticipates. So enjoy those, and with that, I will see you tomorrow. Subscribe if you're interested in my content. Turn on notifications. I post, or attempt to post, at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Central, and 8 a.m. Pacific. And also, you can follow my social media. I rarely post, but the times I do, you can definitely check it out. And with that, I will see you tomorrow. And until then, consume stories.